Hi, welcome back to my channel. This is the Urban Reader, and I'm Raquel. For today, we have a very special video for you. I say we like I have a whole production company. It's just me. Okay, so I have a very special video for you. This is going to be my first reading vlog. Okay, light on the reading. Like the reading is non-existent. So this being my first vlog, I messed up a little bit, and I didn't actually film myself reading, but I did film updates, so you will get my thoughts on the book. So basically, this is just a long review of the book with a little coffee in the beginning. So the book that we will be reading is this one right here, Slow Heat, by Leta Blake, I believe. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing it. Slow Heat isn't just any book. It is a Omegaverse book with Mpreg. Okay, and if you don't know what the Omegaverse is, it's kind of complicated, but I'm gonna try to sum it up as quickly and as efficiently as I can. Okay, so Omegaverse deals with not only the two genders that we are familiar with in our society, which is women and men, but they add on 3 additional genders. You have alphas, betas, and omegas. Alphas are in simple terms, alphas can impregnate omegas, and omegas can get pregnant. Betas are just normal people like you and me. They can't impregnate and they cannot get pregnant. Does that make sense? There are some other factors that go into Omegaverse books. For example, omegas usually have a thing called heat, which is basically like a menstrual cycle, but on steroids. It is a time where they are releasing pheromones, I believe, that attract other alphas, and signal to those alphas this omega is ready to be impregnated. Not every Omegaverse deals with Mpreg, and not every Omegaverse has all 3. Some just have alphas and omegas, and they don't even bother with betas. So that is what Omegaverse is in a nutshell, okay? And if you can't tell, I am not uber familiar with Omegaverse. This is quite exciting. This is my first dive into Omegaverse and / Mpreg. And I thought you would like to come on that journey with me. Because I feel like a lot of people are like tangentially familiar with Omegaverse, or they've heard about it in passing, but they don't know actually what it is, or they haven't actually engaged with that type of media, like that genre specifically. So I thought I would be y'all's guinea pig. So I will read Mpreg and Omegaverse so you don't have to. That'd be so cool if that was the title of this video. You know, how they say the title of the movie in the movie. It's so cool. So that was my thought process behind this vlog, and I have 2 other vlogs planned out. So this will be kind of like a mini series where I read Omegaverse / Mpreg books, and at the end of this series, so in the last video, the 3rd video, I plan to rank the 3 and tell you which one I like the best. okay? And spoiler alert, if you can't tell by the hair, I come from the future. And this book we're going to be reading today, ooh, it is a strong contender for first place. Let me just tell you that. So you're probably wondering, what is Slow Heat about? Enough of this preamble. Let's get into the meat of it. Okay, so let me tell you the synopsis. Professor Vale Amon has crafted a good life for himself. Unbonded in his mid-30s, he's long since given up hope that he'll meet a compatible man, let alone his destined mates. He's fulfilled by his career, his poetry, his cat, and his friends. When Jason Sable imprints on Vale in a shocking and public way, longings are ignited that can't be ignored. Ooh. Fighting their strong urges, Jason and Vale must agree to contract with each other before they can act on their attraction. But for Vale, being with Jason means giving up his independence and placing his future in the hands of an untested young man, as well as facing the scars of his own tumultuous past. He isn't sure it's worth it, but Jason isn't giving up his destined mate without a fight. Ooh. So, that was the synopsis. So this first book, Slow Heat, it is a Omegaverse that is non-shifter. So these 3 Omegaverse books that we will be reading are all slightly different from each other. The first one, Slow Heat, is a Omegaverse without women and with non-shifters. So that just means like they don't shift into werewolves or animals. They're just human by all intents and meant. They're just human. Yes, you heard me correctly. This first book does not have any women in it, which threw me for a loop when I first read it. This book is surprising, and I have some interesting thoughts about it. It's not bad. You'll just have to watch the video to see my full thoughts on it. But if you were ever curious about Omegaverse or Mpreg, or this book specifically, then please stick around, enjoy the video, and let me know if you are interested in checking out this book for yourself, or if you are familiar with Omegaverse, and how you feel about the genre as a whole. I don't know if it's not controversial, but I don't know the general consensus on it. I feel like the most I know about like how the public feels about it is that it's weird. Other than that, I don't know, but I'm curious. So let me know in the comments below what you think about the vlog and this book specifically, Slow Heat. Okay, and without further ado, let's get into the vlog. Morning, y'all. So I thought while I make my morning cup of coffee, I tell you about the first book in our vlog, which is Slow Heat. And whoa, there's nothing slow about this book. So what we will be making today is something I've never made before. I've made lattes before, iced lattes, but I've never made this one. I'm making a white chocolate cupcake iced latte. I know some of you probably like instantly cringed from that. Like your teeth are like already aching. I do like my lattes on the sweeter side. So it's not for everyone. My roommate, they hate most of the lattes I make for myself because they are way too sweet for them. When I'm referring to my roommate, they use they, them pronouns. So like That's why I'm using they. I don't have multiple roommates. I'm in my late 20s. I can't deal with multiple people like in one house. It's just not for me. I don't recommend it. I think the limit of roommates should probably be like 1, maybe 2. That's if you're like, I don't know, a chill person to get along with. Also, if you're a coffee drinker like me, I highly recommend, if you can afford it now, like I could barely afford it, but you know, somehow I was able to swing it. But I would highly recommend an espresso machine. It saved me so much money. Isn't this just the cutest thing? Well, for those of you who are strictly audio, I am holding a little cup that says Quentin and Elliot's Peaches and Plums, the key to a lifetime or 2 of happiness. Oh my god. I got this for a Christmas gift one year. Oh. Super cheap, but it is, to me, the most valuable thing I own. If you know, you know. I realize I've just been yapping away and I haven't even been talking about the book. Let me let this get done and I'll talk to you about it. Ooh. I'm getting all hot and bothered just thinking about it. Okay, so slow heats. Oh, what do I say? The funny thing is I'm only a chapter in, yet I already want to update you. This is my first dip into the Mpreg pond, if you will. And I don't know what I was expecting. Like, I knew it would be more erotic. Typically in my romance books, I have a internal limit of like 3 sex scenes throughout the whole book. Like, that's the sweet spot for me. Like, just give me like 3 scenes and I'm good. No more. You can have less if you want, but I don't know. It's just like, that's not what I personally come to the romance novels I read for. That's not what I look for. It's cool if it's there. It's also cool if it's not. It's really neither here nor there. But usually I have a little time to get acclimated to the world I'm in before you just spring cock and balls on me, you know what I mean? But not here. No. So you start off the book at this all alpha. It seemed like a finishing school. I don't know if I'm using that term correctly, but that's what it seemed like. It seemed like, I guess it was a university. So you start off at this university for alphas only, and the first like scene you're thrown into is a sex ed course, and they're playing a video of an Omega in heat, but it's really just like a 70s porno. That's what it was described like. And as this room full of alphas are watching this porno dressed as a sex ed video, all of them are releasing like pungent pheromones, and all of their cocks are leaking. Like, they're just leaking in their trousers. And that's like the first description, is this erotic public scene. I was not expecting that. I was not. I'm not gonna lie. Like I said, I'm no prude. What was I expecting in the Mpreg genre? Truly, I don't know. Okay, so for this latte, I'm doing about 10 ounces of vanilla almond milk in case you want to make this. But hold off until I make it, because I don't know if it's good or not. Okay, and then I'm going to do about 1 tablespoon of sugar-free vanilla syrup. Okay. And then I'm going to do about 2 pumps of this cupcake syrup. Okay, 2.5. And then just pour our espresso. And the last ingredient, white chocolate. Oh, pretty good. And it's actually not that sweet. Well, to my standards. So yeah, I was not expecting to go in with no foreplay, just getting straight to it. It was, like I said, it was pretty hot, but it caught me completely off guard. So that's how you start the book, is with this sex ed scene where they're showing a classroom full of alphas what to expect from their omegas. Because in this world, you are separated when you show signs of being an omega, beta, or an alpha. Omegas are separated from the rest of society, it seems. So you don't actually, the alphas haven't actually met an omega yet, except like their parents, but they're their parents. And this classroom is full of, like, they're 19-year-olds. So when you become 21, that's when you meet your first batch of omegas. I feel like I'm making it sound very clinical, but that's how the book kind of makes it sound. Well, this is a sex ed course, so it makes sense. But so yeah, so once you turn 21, that's when you're presented with your first batch of omegas. And the goal is you want to imprint on your omega. They call it an aeroscope, which is your bonded mates. That's the omega you imprint on. Not every alpha will have an aeroscope. Some will never have an aeroscope, and they will do what is called contractual bonding, which is exactly what it sounds like. It's when unbonded alphas and omegas enter a contract to mates. So far, I don't know how romance is handled in this world. It seems like everything is done to perpetuate the, not human race, but everything seems very clinical, very detached. It does seem like the alphas have this inherent urge to please their omegas, which is nice. I can see the appeal already of an Omegaverse, so that's nice. It seems like aeroscopes are inherently romantic, and that's the ideal. Oh, also in this world, like years ago in their past, they had an event called the Great Death, which seemed to be the death of women. So that was a little jarring. In a world where Mpreg is a thing, I guess I should have expected for women to be written out of the story, but it still took me off guard. After the sex ed scene, you're shot straight into a sex scene between Jason, the main character, who is a young alpha, but he's described as being a little unlike he's not like other alphas because he's scrawnier. But don't make any mistake, he still has a huge schlong. They were very clear about that. Both Jason and Zan are really horned up from this sex ed course. And so to release some tension, some frustration, they go back to their dorm because they're roommates, and they get it on. There was actually some interesting world building that happened after and during the sex scene too. So what Jason and Zan are doing, they're basically friends with benefits. And you find out, like, during this sex scene, they call it role playing because Xander is role playing as an Omega. And what that basically means is Xander is the bottom in this relationship. And in this world of alphas and Omegas, they also have betas, but betas are just treated as what we would consider normal men. So in this world, being a alpha socially means you're strictly a top. Like, it's very, very frowned upon for a alpha to be a bottom. So what they're doing could get both of them in a lot of trouble, and they could be social pariahs. So that was interesting to learn. When I first heard this, I felt a instant connection to Xander because he actually enjoys being the bottom, but it's made very clear that if anyone knew this, it would not be good. It would not be good for Xander. And I actually, after the sex scene, there was a little aftercare, which was sweet. Jason pulled Xander into his arms and was rubbing like his back. It was very, very sweet. I was not like, wow. Can you tell how like touch deprived I am? I was getting teary-eyed. It was wild. Okay, it was a wild walk home. So as they were coming down from their intense orgasm, Jason was like thinking how sad he is for Xander, that he has to keep this part of himself a secret from the world. Any allies out there, any straight allies, one, thank you for watching. But do you know the feeling of when you had your first queer person come out to you, and I'm sure you were very happy and touched that they trusted you enough to come out to, but was there like a part of you that was also scared for them because you knew like how different their life would be compared to yours? and maybe you were even a little afraid for them. That's the emotion I got from Jason. Like, that's how I interpreted his feelings. And it was very sweet. And you normally don't see your main character this intimate with a friend in romance books. Typically, this level of intimacy is saved for their love interest. But in real life, we all have experienced or know someone who has experienced this type of friends with benefits. So where, yeah, you get down in the bedroom and there's that connection of friendship there, but you don't want anything romantic. For whatever reason, you just don't work with the other person. But there's still feelings involved, right? And so I thought that was oddly realistic. This whole scene, the aftercare scene, was just very well done, in my opinion. So you find out that Xander is basically a allegory for what it's like to be gay in our world. They also have their own deity called the Wolf God. And they even, like, Jason even says that if anyone found out about Xander, they would treat him as an abomination to the Wolf God's teachings. And so they aren't shy about this allegory by any means. Also, I hope I'm using allegory right. Like I said, this is just the first chapter of the book. I think I'm like 7 minutes into chapter 2. I want to read more today, but I do work, and like I said, I don't know if I should attempt to read it at work, you know, like on my break or something, because that is where I'm at currently. I haven't even told you what my morning routine is. You might just assume that's just the coffee. So my morning routine just consists of coffee and BL. For those of you who don't know what BL is, it stands for Boys Love. It is basically gay Asian dramas. It can be from Taiwan. Thailand is the most predominant in the BL industry, I would say. Or what's the other one? Japan. Those are the main ones: Taiwan, Thailand, and Japan. But lately I haven't found new BL to watch that I've really been into, and it's just been throwing me off. But I am excited because I did find a new one that just came out today on Netflix. It's called Love Like Bike. Some of these names they don't translate well. It's about, for those of you curious, it's about 3 adoptive brothers who are all different nationalities of Thai. You have a full Thai sibling, you have a Thai Swiss sibling, and then you have a Thai Taiwanese. Yeah, Thai Taiwanese sibling. And it's just about their love lives and how close-knit of brotherhood they share. So it seems promising. I'm intrigued. My next update, maybe I'll let you know how it went. So yeah. Okay, I will see y'all when I have a bigger update for you. Okay, bye. Hi. So if you can't tell by my voice, I am coming to you at the end of a very, very long work day. And a more sensible person would have come home and went straight to bed. But I never claimed to be sensible. And I also thought I owed you a little update on Slow Heat. So, I have about 9 hours left of the audiobook, and it's 14 hours. So I think I can give you a good update. And I don't know if I want this vlog to contain spoilers or not. I figured if I don't want you to go out and read these books, then I will spoil away, because I don't believe in hate reading. I believe in watching others hate read. Love those vlogs. But me, I don't want to waste my hard-earned coin on books I know I'm not gonna like. So I also want to save you money. And if I don't like a book, I will spoil it away, because I don't want you to go out and buy this. And with Slow Heat, I honestly haven't decided if I think you should go out and buy it. It is... Okay, first off, I know I said when I started that it just went straight in to the specs, and it took me off guard. Like, it took me by surprise. I was not expecting it to just get down and dirty. Although I should have, with the reputation Mpreg and the Omegaverse has, that should have been my number one guess, that we would just get straight in to doing the dirty deed. But surprisingly though, and despite my previous updates, there's actually been little actual smut scenes. I think I can count 2 so far, and it's very interesting because although I'm about, 5 hours in, and there's only been 2 smut scenes, throughout the whole book, there is an underlying current of eroticism to this whole world. And it's very interesting. I've never read anything like it, quite frankly. That surprised me, the lack of smut, but also the book's undertone of eroticism. It's a weird combination, and I think it works. The other thing that really surprised me was how emotional it is. Like, if you're looking for a super simple, fluffy, smutty good time, this is not the book for you. This is not the book for you. And if you don't want to go in with any possible spoilers, and if you are a person who doesn't rely or use the content warnings, then maybe skip, skip 30 seconds. If I don't put a timestamp on the video to skip to, just skip about 30 to 45 seconds, okay? Okay, so a huge content warning for anyone who struggles with infertility, with pregnancy, if any of these can be slightly triggering to you, a huge content warning, okay? Okay. This book deals with very heavy themes, and this world, this particular Omegaverse that the author has built, it is filled with strife and suffering baked into the society, much like our own, but heightened to an absurd degree almost. I've never seen the show, but it reminds me a lot of Handmaid's Tale from what I've gathered in the ether. It reminds me very much of that, of the government controlling the reproduction rights of their citizens. It is very much that, and it's interesting, and I think it sticks out greater because this is a world full of men. There are no women in this world, so it's something that is very striking because we have never had to connect those two dots of reproductive rights and gender of man. So when we're talking about these two things together, it makes everything really stand out. And I think that's the point of this Omegaverse. It's to point out how absurd it is that our government has so much control over something so personal to the individual. And it is very smart. In my humble opinion, I do not have a uterus. I do not have to deal with that particular type of oppression. So take this with a huge grain of salt, please. But as someone from the outside looking in and who has a lot of sympathy, I'm in awe, really. And I know it's silly to praise a book about Omegaverse and a book that has things like slick and heats and ruts and knots, but I do think it bears praising. I really do. I'd be thinking, Raquel, you are just praising this book up and down. Why wouldn't you want me to read it? And good point. I do have some minor criticisms though. Okay. And this is just me not being very familiar with Omegaverse. So I'm not used to what I'm sure are major tropes in the genre, which are the possessiveness of alphas towards their omegas, the physical reaction that alphas and omegas have towards each other. It's very visceral. It takes some getting used to, not gonna lie. It is very animalistic in a way that I don't particularly jive with. The emotional beats of the story are enough for me to look past that. So far, I'm giving a hesitant. Like I said, I still have 9 hours to go. The bottom could fall right out from under it at the last inning. I don't know why I threw a sports phrase there. I don't know nothing about sports. Unless you count like a small obsession with wrestling when I was a preteen. I think I liked it more for the sweaty guys and the girls' cunty outfits. So I digress. But as of now, I'm giving a hesitant yes. I think you should read this book. It's, from all the positives that I listed, I do think it is worth giving a try. If you can handle all the sensitive subject matter and hard themes and very emotional story beats, I think it's worth giving a try, okay? Now, before I let you go, because I do have work tomorrow and I need sleep. I need sleep. Before I let you go, I do have to say that
I did look ahead because this is part of a trilogy, and I did look ahead. The second book, a little sneak peek into the behind the scenes. I am planning out another vlog with a particular theme that I think I might read that book in. It's not going to be the same. It's not going to be Mpreg themed, but it will work with the theming of that one. So I'm really curious about the second book. A little spoilers if you don't want to know what the second book is about before finishing this one. In that case, skip to the end of this update and just know that I hesitantly do recommend this book, okay? I do recommend it. Bye, see you in the next part. Okay, those of you who don't mind a little spoilers, the second book is about Zan, Jason's best friend, the alpha, who likes other alphas. Oh my god. Okay, it's his book, and oh, I am itching to read it. Like, this whole book, I'm actually, don't get me wrong, the love story between the two, Jason and Vale, it's good. It's good. It's a good age gap romance. It's interesting. It contributes to the overall themes of the story. It's good. Don't get me wrong, but I don't know why I'm like this. It's the shipper in me, I swear. I ship Jason and Zan so much. I actually, at this point, I'm like, oh no! Like, Val is great, he's fine, but Zan's right there, Jason! And I'm loving the emotions between Jason and Zan, even though Jason is very much like, I'm all about my Aeroscape. I'm all about Val. He is the one. He still can't deny how much his decision really is hurting Zan. And he does something that is just, that is for Zan, but it's also heartbreaking, and it gives him so many mixed emotions afterwards. And I'm like, what? Like, wow. Okay, you went there, and they linger, and it's something that still affects him long after this has happened. And I'm just like, poor Zan, I just want to hug him. And it's so weird because it's like he's clearly the gay allegory of this book, Zan, and I think that's why I resonate so much with him, because I am gay. And I feel like a lot of us queer kids, we understand what he's going through, and it's just so heartbreaking. And it's like, I'm sorry, Letty, I believe is the author's name, I want to follow Zan. Jason is a fine boy, and I'd like to follow Jason with Zan. That'll be okay, okay? But Zan, my little baby pup. Oh my god, I need him. So I am really interested in the sequel. If that is something that y'all would be into, in another vlog, me reacting to that sequel, or maybe I can, if I have enough things to say, I can make it its own video. Just let me know if anyone sees this. I'm very interested. Okay, I hope this was a satisfying update. I hope I got my thoughts across. And if I didn't, I am exhausted. That is my excuse. And I'm sticking to it. Okay, thank you so much, and I will see you later in the vlog. Okay, see you in a bit. Hi. So I just got back from work. I'm tired, but I finished Low Heat, so let's talk about it. So this was my first Omegaverse / Mpreg book. So I had preconceived notions about the genre going in. Even though I read the synopsis of this book, I still thought that it would be a smutty little fun time. It was not that. It was not that at all. Yes, it did have an underlying layer of eroticism throughout the whole book. The smut was actually pretty tame, I thought. There was only 3 smut scenes. Yes, this is under the romance genre, but after reading the book, I more comfortably label it as a piece of speculative fiction that is interested in discussing reproductive rights and what it would be like if a government had even more control over those individuals with uteruses than our own does, and what that society would look like and how it would function. That is what this book is about when you get down to it. Yes, there is a romance in this book, but honestly, it is the least interesting thing about this book. What I mean by that is when the book was focusing on the romance between Jason and Vale, I was bored out of my mind. I was much more interested in the world building. I was much more interested in how this world differed from ours. I was interested in the laws regarding Omegas and how oppressed the Omegas were in this society. I was much more interested in what it meant to be an alpha, what it meant to be a beta, and how overlooked they were, and how no one cared what betas did as long as they didn't step out of line and into the place of alphas in society. I was interested in the similarities of the Omega's plight in this society was very similar to women and femme-presenting individuals in our society. I think if you're going into this book with the right expectations, and if you are down for a speculative ride that has some interesting things to say and about reproductive rights and the government's role in that, then I think you will thoroughly enjoy this book like I did. It was fantastic in that regard. But if you are looking for a book that has a strong romance plot that engages with that romance as thoughtfully as it does its other themes, then you will be disappointed. Before I get into spoilers, do I recommend this book? If you vibe with what I said about it being speculative fiction, then yes, 100%. Now, if you are interested in a really good Omegaverse romance, I don't necessarily not recommend it, but if you're like me and you are new into this genre, then I would recommend it with some caveats. The first being, you have to know that the romance plot is not as strong as the other elements in this book. It's really just there. Two, I don't know if every Omegaverse has the same elements of possessiveness that this book has. Regarding this book, you have to be okay with a possessive male lead. I do not rock with that trope. It was very hard at times for me to read some of the scenes because how overtly possessive they were. Very much spelled out for you that the alphas are meant to take control in this relationship and society. The book doesn't blatantly say that that's right or correct, but it is a fact that in society, alphas are expected to take charge. So if you're okay with those elements, then and you're looking for an Omegaverse romance, then yes, I also would recommend it to you. I hope that helped. If you were thinking about reading this book, I do think if you are slightly curious, it is worth a read, regardless of if you're there for the romance or the conversation around the government's control over people with uteruses. Those are my final thoughts, with non-spoilers. A little bit more spoiler territory, although I'm gonna keep the spoilers very light, okay? Jason and Vale, I did not like them as a couple, not one bit. I thought they were very boring and very bland. Every time they were on page together and it was just them, oh God, it was like pulling teeth. Like, they're fine. I love them as characters, but together, oh God, it's like watching wet paint dry. It's just really bad. The reason I don't like Jason and Zan, not Zan, ooh, love Zan. We'll get to that. The reason I don't like Jason and Vale together is because they are aeroscape. They are each other's bonded mates. And an aeroscape is just, in other words, fated mates. And I loathe this trope for this exact reason. It takes all the tension out of romance. If I know in universe that they are meant to be together, I'm not going to be invested in them making their relationship work if I know that they're just meant to be together, like they're going to end up together because that's just how it is. And the other trope that this book deals with is age gap romance. And the whole appeal of an age gap romance is these two unlikely individuals getting together and overcoming the odds. You're supposed to show how, despite having so much work against them, they somehow work together. You need to show me how this 19-year-old and 35-year-old actually overcome what sets them apart to the point where they complement each other. You're supposed to show me how, yes, they have differences because they are in different stages of their life, but they work through it and they develop better communication for it, and show me how hard they work to stay together, because in all likelihood they shouldn't be together, but because they love each other so much, they are willing to put in the work to change themselves, not drastically, but to the point where they fit easier together. That's the appeal of an age gap romance. It's defeating the odds. It's love not being enough, but you are working to make it happen because that's how much you love each other. This, whenever they're together, they don't do that. They don't overcome their differences when they think about how they are at different stages of their life, and they think about how much they'll have to overcome in society. They just go, we're aeroscape, so we're just meant to be. It's fate. It'll work out because we're aeroscape, and that's just how it is. It's like the author wasn't interested in showing us how they deal with this conflict of the age gap, because every time the characters would just throw their hands up there like, we're aeroscape. We would be miserable without each other, so we have no choice but to work through it, and we know we will because we're aeroscape. Do you get what I'm getting at? Do you understand what I'm getting at? It's frustrating to read. It's not enjoyable. It's not satisfying. On top of that, the conflict that arises in their relationship has nothing to do with who they are as people. It has nothing to do with who Jason is as a person. It has nothing to do with who Vale is as a person. Their personalities could be completely different and the story would be the same. The romance would be the same because the conflict comes from their genders. Because in this world, alphas and omegas are genders. So it has to do with the fact that Jason is a young 19-year-old alpha and Vale is a 35-year-old independent omega in this society, and how the society they're in views their age gap, but not who they are as people that causes their relationship strife. In other words, their relationship is a means to an end for the overarching themes that this book is tackling, which I don't hate, I actively love. If the book was actually focused on the romance, I would probably be an F because it was just so boring. So luckily it wasn't. Do not come to this book for the romance. You will be sorely disappointed. And especially if you're looking for a really good age gap romance, this is not the book. Because at the end of an age gap romance, I want to be convinced. Like it's an uphill battle with an age gap romance. You are already starting off thinking these characters should not be together. Convince me otherwise. This book does not do that. It does not convince you. By the end of it, you're still thinking, yeah, they shouldn't be together. No, they're a horrible match. But they have to because they're Escape. So it does a very poor job in that regard. Now moving on to my favorite character in this book, Zan. Oh, my sweet baby boy Zan. Oh, he needs to be protected at all costs. Soon as I understood that Zan was the gay insert of this book, I knew his character was going to hit different. And he did. Oh, when I tell you, every time he was on page, I teared up. Letty put the author put Zan through the ringer, and in turn put my heart through the ringer. I was not prepared for the emotional damage. Specifically, the scene that nearly broke me. So there's a scene when Jason is talking to Zan in Jason's room and letting him know that he can't come back to live with Zan in the dorms now that he is bonded to his Escape. When he's telling Zan this, Zan starts to break and cry, and Jason feels bad. He didn't mean to hurt Zan like this, and he doesn't quite understand why Zan is hurting. And he tells Zan, you'll be fine. It's not what we planned, but you'll be all right. And Zan just says, no, I won't. And I'm like, I won't be fine either. Because, so it turns out Zan is in love with Jason, and he doesn't want to be without him because not only is he in love with Jason, but also Jason is the only person he can be himself with, who can love him the way he wants to be loved. Which, to be quite frank, Zan is a bottom, and he is attracted to other alphas. And in this world, being gay is being an alpha who's attracted to other alphas and is punishable by death. So if Zan approaches the wrong alpha, that's it. And like, his life could be over. It quite frankly reminds me of what it was like in the US when being gay was a crime, right? You can get arrested. When it was considered a mental illness. So it really echoes 2 times of our past. And so the stakes are really high for Zan. And now that Jason is bonded to Vale and he can't even come home to Zan in their dorm, like Zan's world is falling apart. And Jason is a really good friend, bless his heart. He tries to console Zan, and in this point, Zan is filled with sadness. So he comes on to Jason, and Jason wants to make Zan feel better. So he does the only thing that he thinks he can do for Zan, which is to fuck him. So he goes through with having sex with Zan, even though he is not in love with Zan. He is in love with Vale because Vale is his Aeroscape. Why does he love Vale? He knows nothing about this man. It's because he's Aeroscape. Just deal with it. But he desperately wants to make his friend feel better, so he is willing to do this for him. And Zan convinces Jason that it's fine, he's okay with the fact that Jason doesn't love him like that. And he is okay basically being the other man. Like, Jason can have Vale and be with Zan on the side, it's fine. And at one point, Jason is really thinking about this and considering this, but it all goes to shite when, in the heat of it, the scene really got me going. When Zan accidentally confesses his love to Jason mid-coitus, oh, he didn't mean to do that, and that's when Jason knew, no, this can't go on. He knew that if he continued to have sex with Zan, it would just hurt him in the end, because this is not fair. This is not what Zan wants, truly. And this isn't fair to Vale, and this isn't fair to Zan. Zan does not deserve this, and he would just be hurting the two people he loves most. And so he finishes with Zan. He finishes having sex with Zan, and they both know that this was the last time. And that scene is heartbreaking, and it's so sad. Oh God. It broke me. Not only Zan's part, but also Jason. Like, it can't be understated how, I can't overstate how good of a friend Jason is throughout this whole book. He really sympathizes with Zan, and he knows that life is going to be hard for him, and he just wants the best for Zan, and it's just so sweet. And then this scene is like the epitome of their friendship. Like, it is such a great example of how strong their friendship is and how much it means to Jason that he would be willing to do this for Zan, even if it was just a goodbye thing. It really, as a gay man who has had unrequited love and feelings for men growing up, it really hits. It really hits. Knowing that the person you like doesn't like you, not because they don't like you, because they like you, just not in the way you want them to. It's rough. It's really rough. So I felt for Zan, and it hurt. It hurt. So some of the other things that didn't quite hurt me, but made me uncomfortable, but that was the point of these elements, and that was the point the book was trying to make, how absurd it is that the government has so much control over these people's reproductive rights. the Omegas, how oppressed they are, is insane. You're telling me just because an Alpha imprints on an Omega, now all of a sudden that Alpha is in control of that Omega's assets, all of their assets, and that Omega gets an allowance that he has to live off of, essentially? That's insane. That is crazy. But again, it harkens back to real world when women couldn't open up a bank account without their husband's permission. I might be getting that wrong, but it's something to that effect. So how controlled that they were, and in some cases still are. It really frustrated, really made me mad. And that was the point. That was the reaction it was trying to provoke. And it worked. And how the government valued fetuses over the people who were actually giving birth, to the point where it was a high likelihood that these Omegas would die in childbirth. And even then they couldn't get proper preventative care. Abortion pills illegal. Getting an abortion was illegal, punishable by death. They couldn't even get a hysterectomy. The government was so focused on reproduction that they were letting their own citizens die. Sound familiar, anyone? I hate how hard this book is hitting. Oh, and I almost forgot. Star ratings. If I was rating it on romance alone, 2 stars. But luckily for the book, my overall enjoyment of this book was high, so I'm rating it 4 stars. I couldn't give it 5 stars because I did not enjoy the romance, and the possessive elements of this particular Omegaverse I was not vibing with. That is just one trope that will never sit right with me. If you enjoy it, I'm happy for you. I wish I could, but I guess I haven't gone to enough therapy yet. Thank you so much for joining me in my first book in the Omegaverse. It was a ride. It was definitely a ride. Very interesting. I am excited to continue. I have 2 more books planned out that I was going to read for this particular vlog. I might separate the videos. So this will be like my Mpreg vlog, like volume 1, and volume 2 and volume 3 might be their own video. But I'm excited to continue this journey with you. Thank you so much. And let me know in the comments if you've read Slow Heat and what you think of the book. And if you read the sequels in this trilogy, I know the synopsis to both of them, and I think I will enjoy the romances in those a lot more than I did in this one, because they aren't fated mates. Especially the second one, Zan's book. I'm ready to cry. Tissue's on standby. So yeah. Nothing more to say, but thank you, and I hope y'all have a good night, day, whatever time it is. Thank you, and goodbye, y'all. Bye.